Hello and welcome to a new video here on the channel. As you can see, I'm standing here again next to our BMW F900GS, which I've foiled super in the meantime. I think foil always brings a totally blatant change. On such a motorcycle, especially here, Unfortunately, I have already sold the motorcycle again. After the foiling I was really annoyed, but yes, I know where she's going. I know the customer is looking forward to it and will have a lot of fun with it, and that's important that someone else has a lot of fun with the motorcycle. There will be a lot of standing around here, and in the end, I bought the bike exclusively to bring you more content and to develop a new product. What I would like to go into again now. If you're interested, stay tuned. It starts right now. Yes, the BMW F900GS has a small problem, but it can become a big problem on your tour. And that's up here. The original bracket of the headlight is also there to keep the navigation. You have a part with a 12mm rod at the front, which is put on here. And if you now have a navigation device of medium or larger size, such as the DMD tablet here, mounted in you or off-roading, it can very quickly lead to the fact that in the area of the tower here, cracks appear and the navigation device is simply no longer where it should be. And then you really have a problem. BMW knows this problem. BMW will also exchange this part for you free of charge. However, that doesn't do you any good if you're on a trail. What do I know? You're in Bosnia somewhere in the mountains that breaks. Then you have no benefit for the time being that you get it exchanged for free. I have developed a solution for this. It is inexpensive and relatively easy to install. I'll show you what exactly it's about, what I did, and then it goes step by step through the installation of the part in the video. To separate it clearly and distinctly, I have now printed it here from a blue PLA, just to show you what it looks like and where it goes. And you have, if you remove the window at the front, and remove the navigation stance, you will practically find this. The headlight unit is still in here normally. Up here in the area where it breaks are these indentations. That's what these two small towers are used for. This will be glued later. Is himself self-adapting. That means you don't have to somehow make sure that you hit the right angle. Just push that in. Let the glue then. 24 hours of drying out. He needs it and the rest you assemble normally as before. As I said, the instructions will come in detail again in a moment. This is what it looks like. Of course you don't get the part in blue, but you get it in black. This is a carbon reinforced component. So it's not a cheap PLA. But we have attached importance to the fact that it is really a very stable, good material. Because it is then practically permanently connected to your original headlight unit, i.e. to the original holder from BMW. For this we also supply these rowers. This rudder glue with it. That's a special glue that's made to melt plastic parts more or less together, as if they were then cast in one. He comes along. Made in Germany. The thing is produced by us, so it is also made in Germany. And for those who don't come from Europe, there's someone in North America who's going to sell that for you. That will very, very likely be the company Outback Motortech. The ones here, they're going to market that for you in North America. They use a different printer and probably a different material. But in any case, the same quality, and there is certainly indecent glue included. We simply separate from it. Outback Motortech does the whole thing in North America, and all other countries here in Europe are covered by us. If you have an F900GS, as I said, this is a simple solution and a relatively quick solution. And how fast and how easy that is, I'll show you now. We go to the front of the bike and we install the part on the machine. Step number 1, you remove all 4 screws and thus the windscreen. For this you need a 25 Torx. Step number 2, you peel off this cover. It's relatively simple. Reach from below next to it and up here a small short jerk. It is fastened with 4 small clamps. Pull straight out and lay aside. Step number 3, you remove these 4 screws with a 30 Torx. If you have now, as in my case, already connected a navigation device to the cable, it would now be important to disconnect the cable from each other, and then you can push the holder upwards. This is what the whole thing looks like when you have turned the holder up here. I've now made the connection again, just to make it completely up, to make the view clearer for you. So here are these corners. This is the area where the rupture usually occurs. As you can see, I already have a lot of cables here. As I said, this is a bit different now, depending on the condition of your motorcycle. To get more access here, you can also easily add this cover a bit. Get you out of the way. Just reach underneath it loosely, pull it slightly upwards, and then you can fold it forward a bit. Nothing happens, I promise. And that gives you a lot of access up here, because you have to get to it right now. What I will definitely recommend to you is that you take a look here, because there you can see about the height below the 2 screws, that there are brackets for cables and plugs. You can squeeze them a little inwards to get more space here to plug in the unit. Before you finally glue the component, I would recommend you to test it beforehand. This works as follows. You put this in here. As I said, it is self-leading. You see, it has very, very little space only. To move around and see if it really goes in freely. That should be the case. If you can push that in and you have no obstacle, then it is ready to assemble. You just pull it out again and apply the glue to the whole thing. As I said, please use only the supplied glue from the company Roof from a Router. This is the L530. This is a special plastic adhesive. You attach it to the component once here on the underside on both sides, as well as here on the top of the 2 parts. So not on the sides and back, but purely at the top and bottom of the components. So now that the glue is applied to the top and bottom, please remember that you insert your power cable with the white BMW plug at the top at the front before inserting it. That has to go through up here. Then you put it loosely down here. Make sure that everything is clean, just laid, and then you can push it in. In this state, it should now harden for 24 hours. Please don't drive. You can, of course, push and move the motorcycle, but please don't go driving like that. Next, hang this fairing back in at the bottom. So, in the next step, fold the upper part down again. Your navigation cable is still going through up here. Pushes that into the lead, that it is firmly connected. And now, depending on, I just have to make sure that all the cables are still laid neatly in there and that I reattach the 4 screws. Yes, that's how clean the whole thing looks now. I have now laid my cables here neatly, as I just mentioned. Now I just have to put the 4 screws here. Of course, there is now a minimalist little gap at the top. But that's not something you have to worry about. We have tested this extensively, is no problem. And you can now see a piece of the stiffener here to the right and left. Yes, otherwise, everything else is not visible. You won't see much difference from before. Except that the component secures your navigation solution. We'll quickly assemble it and then I'll show you the final picture again at the end. Now you grab your screws and the 30 torques again. Applies all 4 screws. Doesn't tighten it right away, but all after the turn just a little bit. And after that I always walk around it a bit. From screw to screw. Tighten it slowly. Then you get your cover back. Place them over here. Click on it and you've completed the step. The last thing you need now is your windshield and the 4 screws with the 25 torques. I've always been so committed to it. Then I have my hands free. In my case, as you can see, I'll start with the top 2. Please make sure that you insert the screws straight. Is that possible with a lot of resistance? Aren't they just in the thread? Please don't ruin anything. So this should really be very, very, very easy. Please do not overdo it with the windscreen. The windshield is now fixed again, as you can see, and you can go on tour with it soon. Your navigation system is now stable. I'll show you the recording again in a moment, how it looks when you walk around it, that you don't see any difference from before. And this is what it looks like now. If you look at it from all sides, that means you won't see any visual difference here. Of course, it will also make your navigation unit a bit stiffer than before. This means that if you have to deal with vibrations before, it will eliminate that a bit. But the important thing is that it won't break you so quickly up here. Yes, this is, as you can see, quite simple. Takes about a quarter of an hour to install. And if you're interested in the product, I've linked it in the video description below. Otherwise, just go to my online shop www.bikes-peak.de. Select the BMW F900GS in the drop-down menu and you'll find the stiffener for the navigation unit at the front. We're in the range of €50 here, depending on where the whole thing goes, depending on the VAT, how they turn out. Kleber, as I said, is there. You don't need anything else. In addition, €50 plus minus and you have solved your problem, so you can go off-road with it stress-free. Even if you have a thick navigation system like a tablet mounted in the front. I hope you liked the product and enjoyed the installation and the video with it. If so, I would be happy if you leave a like or even subscribe to the channel. Until next time. Take care, drive safely, and ciao. Driver.